Next on Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly, American rugby legend Cam Dolan, former NOLA Gold GM Ryan Fitzgerald, Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News / Ray's Rugby, and a glimpse at the Rugby Town Sevens with Thomas Wheels Grant. Rugby Wrap-Up's MLR Weekly brought to you by Sheehy Auto Stores. It's easy at Sheehy. The Pig and Whistle, New York City, the world's best rugby pub. And Lean and Limber, stretching your way to a healthier lifestyle.
There is a massive responsibility on the 23 that are privileged enough to step out on that field today.
Let's get it started with a glimpse at the Rugby Town Sevens with Thomas Wheels Grant.
Zach McConnell, all the way out of the Randwick Club in Australia. You've made your way to Denver. Rugby Town Sevens, it's a fantastic day for it. What are you most looking forward to?
Oh, mostly would be good to get on the field with all the new boys, a few Frenchies in, some good crack, and just throw the ball around and score some meat pies.
Meat pies, gotta love it, bringing that Australian flair to the game. How many times have you represented the Jesters before?
This is my first time on debut, so it'll be good to get a few tries in and celebrate with the boys.
What's been the highlight so far?
Oh, it's got to be rooming with Jordan Conroy.
Wow.
You don't know what he does. He comes in different outfits or sometimes no outfits and dances to whatever tunes he wants.
So sleep with one eye open if you're rooming with Jordan Conroy.
Exactly right.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers.
Yari, 21 points to 14. We get the job done over at Apache. How'd you enjoy the first run out there? How'd it go?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. The altitude is real. It was pretty tricky, but it was good to get the first one done. Yeah.
And how did you, adapt to that altitude? Were there any sort of techniques or tactical plans?
I'd love to say there is, but there really isn't.
Yeah.
It's just grinding it through. But I think we made a lot of errors, so I think that's a positive. We got a good result, but there's still room for improvement. So
6 o'clock the next game. What are some of those things we need to clean up on?
I think it's just the errors, the set piece, getting to know each other, knowing how each other play, and just skill errors, handling, things like that.
There it is, the Jesters back on 6 o'clock. Here we go.
Coach Steve Lewis, big quarterfinal coming up against Tsunami. Where do you beat this team? Where do you break them down?
They're a very, very talented team, lots of individual players. I think we're a little more physical, so perhaps those contests we can win. I also feel we probably play slightly more of a team structure.
Yep.
But again, like every Sevens game, it's making your tackles and taking care of the ball.
And I do want fans to know the secret about you. When it is 2 minutes till kick-off, what is Steve Lewis saying? Are you a hype guy or are you just cool, calm, collected?
This scenario, this is Mobsy's team really, so I'm background voice, and I'm whispering in his ear rather than doing any of the hype stuff. But no, I'm not a G-up guy, I'm not the 5 minutes to go guy.
No, well done, Steve. We love that. Elevate rugby.
And that was a glimpse at the Rugby Town Sevens with Thomas Wheels Grant. Wheels on the ground, as we say. But don't go away. We'll be right back after this with American rugby legend Cam Dolan.
Digs like a demented mole there.
And we are back with an American rugby legend, Cam Dolan. Cam, welcome back to MLR Weekly.
Thanks for having me again. It's been a few years, but I'm glad to be back. Especially while you're in the Big Apple.
It's been a while. You know, we miss you here in the Big Apple. I know that we talked off camera, and I said I wasn't going to mention your run with Old Blue, but you did run with Old Blue in the city, so I gotta give you that. Well, first of all, you're one of the true pioneers of an American rugby pathway, if you will, playing in high school, and it was a meteoric rise for you to get on the American rugby radar, because I remember seeing you playing with Life at the CRCs, I think in Philadelphia. Is that right?
Yeah. So I started in November of 06. It was my first practice. And in January of 07, so 2 months later, Sean O'Leary had come down to scout for the 2008 USA Under-17 team. And he saw me and he goes, "Hey, wasn't down here to scout for this year's Under-17 team, but if you want to come to a camp, if your parents are okay with that, we have a camp in 6 weeks in Dallas." So at this point, I'm 2 months in. So the camp would have been 3.5 months in. Went to the camp in Dallas, had a really good camp, and got called up to the team. And then from there, it was like USA Under-17s, USA Under-18s. Went to Life. Was fortunate enough to have awesome coaching in Scott Lawrence and Dan Payne.
Wow.
And so had a really good college career, college sevens, played my first USA sevens when I was 21.
And I just want to go over the bio because it's really impressive. All right. So you had Cardiff in Wales, Nottingham in England, San Diego Legion for a year. A lot of MLR people will be confused and think that you were a long-time NOLA Gold or an original NOLA Gold player, but you did play the last 7 years with NOLA. But you also, of course, Team USA.
You missed one important one. I did play for Northampton Saints for 2 years and was part of a Premiership winning team as well. I didn't play any minutes that first year I was there, but I was in the senior squad, and that's kind of where I got my first shot there at professional rugby.
I did miss that, and I apologize. I had it and I missed it. I just didn't read it. It's not, the teleprompter. I'm going to blame that on the teleprompter. But yeah, that's, these are very, very good teams. Plus, you get to go overseas. You get to live in different countries. You get to travel the globe. I mean, you've seen it all. With Team USA and World Cups, we were together in England. You were on my honeymoon, as a matter of fact.
I've had multiple people over the years ask me and say, man, you could have played football and gone to college and possibly played in the NFL if you did it right. And I'm like, I could have, yeah, but I also got to live in Europe. I got to travel the globe. Not saying I would have played in the NFL by any means, but just stature-wise and athleticism-wise. But I tell them, I'm like, I could have, but I also got to play professional rugby. Lived in England and Wales for 4 years. We got to represent my country, get to experience those cultures all around the world, from Republic of Georgia to Japan down to South America. Without that, I don't think I would be the person I am today. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't change one thing.
Let me cut to present with Team USA. We just witnessed them lose to Canada, and we are in that dreaded situation of potentially missing a World Cup for the second time. If you were in a magical world tomorrow, the CEO of USA Rugby, what would your first 3 moves be?
If I had an endless budget and I could just do whatever I wanted with, that's where the difference is.
Let's give you double the budget what they have now.
Okay. You would have had to start as soon as USA Rugby got that 2031 bid for the World Cup. Then you'd have to invest so much in a high school, like youth, high school, college rugby. And then you've got to put the rest of it you've got to get scholarships in college. If you don't have scholarships in college, then kids are going to, these high school kids, if they're multi-sport athletes who are usually your best athletes, they're going to go with the one that's going to be able to pay for their college. And then the third thing I'd go, you've got to have it on TV. The ESPN app, great. ESPN app isn't going to be enough.
Paramount Plus, another paywall.
Anything with a paywall, or people. My generation doesn't go to games. They want to go to the bar and hang out with their friends and we'll watch it at the bar. Well, right. if it's an app, that a lot of these, it's DirecTV. So you've got to have it on DirecTV.
Agreed on all of them. All right, now let me flip the script on you and say you're the commissioner of the MLR. Give me, what's your first move?
You've got to get rid of the trading foreigner spots is not going to work. And you've got to drop the foreigner spots. As much as I've loved all my foreign teammates, and although that might drive the product, the big names that they bring over and they pay the most money, the people who know those names are already going to the games.
Yeah.
If you get, especially down here in Louisiana, if we got Dan Carter to come play for us, for instance, some guy who lives downtown New Orleans that isn't going to know who that is. So, but the people who do know are already the people who are season ticket holders. So
you also exited at a perfect time and an unfortunate time for the NOLA Gold, because you announced your retirement and then the team announced they were no longer in the league. How briefly, how'd that make you feel?
Sad, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been here for 7 years. I love New Orleans as a city. I love New Orleans Gold as a team. I loved all the people involved in it, from players to coaches to front office staff to the physios and the fans as well. So that it hurts to see it. but I also understand it from a business standpoint. I think that personally, I think MLR probably ran before it walked. I think they had a couple good years of growth and kind of threw the kitchen sink at it, which I understand, but at the same time, maybe not the most calculated business decisions.
We're not going to figure it out on this because we're running out of time. And before we run out of time, I want to switch this to a little bit of a lighter round robin set of questions. Who would you rather, now that you're out of the game, who would you rather play for, New Zealand or South Africa?
I think South Africa, simply because Cape Town is one of my favorite cities in the world.
Fair enough. England or Ireland?
Ireland.
URC or Premiership?
Oh, I've played in both. URC, you get to see a little bit more. Premiership, probably a little bit more competitive unless you play for Leinster or one of the Sevens. I'm going to go Premiership.
Leinster or Toulouse?
Leinster.
Seattle Seawolves or Chicago Hounds?
Chicago. I like Chicago.
Thank you for your time and your efforts. I know that you had to jump through some hoops to come on, and it's much appreciated.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure, as always.
Mr. Cam Dolan, an American rugby legend, goddamn great American. Thank you for coming on. We'll be right back with Ryan Fitzgerald, the former GM of the NOLA Gold, after this.
Digs like a demented mole there.
Need a great price on a new vehicle? Sheehy makes it easy. Easy Price shows you our lowest prices on the Mid-Atlantic's largest selection. Find your best price online or at any of our 31 dealerships.
It's easy at Sheehy. Sheehy.com.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we are welcoming in Mr. Ryan Fitzgerald, another great American rugby legend and another former NOLA Gold person. Ryan, welcome back to MLR Weekly. But Ryan, it's good news for you because you are now currently the Director of Rugby at Loyola University in New Orleans. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on, brother. I'm excited for it. Awesome. Been down here now for 16 years, in New Orleans, obviously the last 8.5 years with NOLA Gold. So obviously I've had a lot of relationship with obviously great city to come to in New Orleans and great academic institution. And we're excited for it.
You're coming off being the general manager of the NOLA Gold and in their most successful season. And then the following year, new ownership came in and decided that you weren't going to be the general manager. They gave you a different title. And then they collapsed. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I know that you have your GM hat on all the time, even though you can't really just steal from other schools. Not right now. The draft is a different thing. But as Loyola Director of Rugby, you're certainly looking around at talent, and you're very good at that. I want you to give me the surprises of the draft and who the steals were of the MLR Draft.
Hayden McKay, Mount St. Mary's didn't get picked. I saw him play at the U20s for USA. I thought he was exceptional, didn't get picked. Utah selection, obviously, obviously getting up to Canada and everything that they definitely, like I said, on the draft day, I thought that was awesome that they stuck to their guns on something. They saw something there. I thought there was some great picks in round one, obviously. Just being right there, obviously, with Sherman, with Campbell Robb, you're getting front rowers. Hey, if you're going to pick a lineout jumper at number one, right, you might as well pick someone to throw it to him at number two.
All right, but let me ask you this question about Sherman specifically. He could go to Australia, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, Ken, I don't know all the details of his, where he wants to go, what he wants to do, what his background is, but yes, I mean, he obviously very well could. I think
that would be a big loss for the team that draft. I mean, you have to weigh these things in when you draft these guys.
For sure, just like you do once in a while, with even with visas and stuff like that come through, and with exactly if he's domestic or if he's not, for this league rules. But that's obviously what they were willing to take that, and I think obviously my guess is that Anthem has probably done their homework, and if they picked them right there. And I'm sure Mark Carney and staff has had conversations with them and asked them straight up. I've been in those rooms where someone said they might be going to sevens versus GOAT, so I have, it's your life, it's your decision, everything. That if you could just be honest with me so I don't waste a pick, that'd be great. So I think that's probably my guess would be that's in the same boat, as they've had a conversation about that. And they obviously feel comfortable that he's going to be going there. So,
all right. Thank you to Mr. Fitzgerald. And thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
And we'll be right back with Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News /Ray's Rugby with a whole list of things to talk about. Don't go away.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now. This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? And we are back with Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News /Ray's Rugby. Bryan, as we always do before we start shooting, we get each other really annoyed about the different things that are going wrong or what we don't like. And then we come on and we're all fired up. It's our caffeine, so to speak. And we were going on and on and on about Team USA's roster, their selection. And we don't have time for all this because we have to allow you time to absolutely gloat over your Team Canada, pretty much at the simultaneously qualifying for the Rugby World Cup and ensuring that the United States would not qualify for the Rugby World Cup. Congratulations.
Well, it's not a 100% done deal, but it's about as close as it gets. It's really tough for the Eagles to overturn that. I mean, that's not saying the Eagles won't qualify. I think they absolutely will, but Canada's pretty much done it at this stage. And
on the rugby odds, the odds were 1,000 to 1.
Yeah,
You can't not miss on this.
Yeah, it's as close as it gets. So I hate to say I told you so, but I picked this game with the calendar and said Canada can definitely win this game, and if they throw everything at them. And remember, this wasn't even Canada's strongest lineup. I mean, our top hooker, Andrew Quatrin's over in France trialing out for a Pro D2 team. No Brock Webster, no Andrew Coe. I mean, it did help that we had some Tyler
Ardron is all you needed on the field. That's all you needed. He had 7 tries. 7.
Spectacular performance. Evan Olmstead.
And Olmstead. What the? Yeah. Where have these guys been for you guys?
It's been a long few years under another coach, and thankfully we have someone else in charge just in time for this one, in the nick of time, and they got it done.
Well, the nick of time is relative. The last person after he scored his second try, I'm like, somebody's got to take a machete to him, get him out of the game, stick your finger in his eye, whatever you have to do, get him off the pitch. It wouldn't have mattered though. This was his night and Canada's night. And aside from the atrocious refereeing that completely was biased toward Canada and robbed us at every count, you did win pretty much every aspect of the match.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the guys for having street smarts and knowing what the referee was going to allow and whatever.
So you agree it was horrific refereeing?
No, I have no issues whatsoever with
the refereing was actually pretty good.
I just thought that they played as a team. I mean, Scott Lawrence said exactly what happened after the game. Canada wanted it more. They absolutely trashed the American line out.
Well, but did anybody ask him any questions about the roster choices?
Well, no.
That left us all dumbfounded. Yeah. I mean, we're not in the locker room. I don't know the injuries. I don't know what's going on, but I just know what I'm watching. And I watched the team play England and was told that the messaging from the camp was that game didn't matter, that all the eggs were going to be in the basket for Canada. And what now? Right? And you have questions about the USA roster.
100%. Look, I mean, we've been talking about the outside backs. Why is Max Schumacher not in that squad? Why are you playing Eric Storty?
Because he's too tired from being basically the MVP of the MLR final in a career-making match. That's why he's too tired.
And then you stick Ali Khan in there in his first ever test match, playing at a position he didn't play in MLR as well. And nobody in that forward pack had anything, worth jumping ability compared to what Canada had out there. Yeah. I mean, not one of them. Their best line-out jumper was Haley, and he's on the bench. So how is P. Folletti ever going to find his jumpers given our draw? And imagine if Mason Flesh had started, it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
I really had to scratch my head at the selection for this one. And, Scott Lawrence says the right things off the field. It sounds like he knows what the issues are, but the words that he's saying off the field are not matching what's going on the field. He's talking about getting more forward ball from the big forwards. I didn't see a lot of big forwards carrying over the gain line in that game, I'll tell you. So I think there's a real disconnect there. I think he's got to look at certainly squad selection and maybe look at his assistant coaches, Alama Yeremia and Nick Easter.
How about Nick Easter? Where's his mouth going?
Maybe he should be now. Yeah, maybe he should dream in a little bit more about lineouts than the URC. Not a good look for him in that game. So I think he should maybe look at some personnel changes there.
Eric Storty, playing him at fullback. He's been playing center for your team, the Anthem, the entire season. And you stick him at fullback. I'm not knocking Storty, but you're playing these guys out of position in a pivotal match. And I don't get it. Where is Connor Buckley? Where is he? He was the starting scrum half for Old Glory for most of their matches and got the lion's share of their playing time of the playing time at the scrum half position. Where is he? He's fire, he's energy, he's aggressive, exactly what we need. And you know what? He sounds American. How you doing? And I love JP Smith, but I want to see Connor Buckley in there, man. I don't get it. Where's Moonshine or Moonshot 2030? As Mike Friday calls it, Moonshine. And I'm starting to look at it that way because I'm really bamboozled about this. But anyway, kudos to Canada, and at least North America will be represented in this World Cup, not like the last one. Let's go to the other side, to the female side of the Rugby World Cup and the current World Cup. You got to be happy. In the meantime, Americans had a really bad Friday night.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too harsh on the Eagles. That's a really, really good England team. I mean, the amount of resources behind that team is frankly absurd. It's so lopsided them compared to everybody else. Just ridiculous. They held it in there for a bit. Awesome try from America.
14-7. 14-7.
Yeah, they were doing all right for a bit. I mean, it was inevitable that England was going to. They're such a good side. They're so deep. So I wouldn't get too down on the Eagles. They got 3 more games to show what they can do. As for Canada, well, we knew they were going to be competitors. I didn't see Julia Schell scoring 6 tries, but that was awesome to see. It's just lining up the way we thought. I really think it's going to be Canada versus England in the final. Got to get through New Zealand first, it looks like, on this side of the draw for Canada. And England will have to beat France, who...
this England team is not losing. That's not. They might get a bit of a stumbling block versus New Zealand or maybe Canada, but they're not going to lose those matches. They're not going to lose a match.
We'll see. We'll see. I got faith in this Canadian team.
All right, listen. You want to bet right now? You want to bet a toonie? I'll throw a toonie down.
I'm up in the stakes right now. We just had a really good weekend. If you want to lose
you're
another
playing with house
Maple
money
Glaze
right now.
donut.
Yeah, I am. I am not one to be able to brag right now. I'll tell you what, though. Even despite the lopsided score, it was a fun match to watch, and a big part of that was that electric crowd. 42,000, right?
Yeah. Superb. And you can't do anything except respect the skills of players like Ellie Kildun out there. I mean, just marvelous to watch.
Just great to watch. And speaking of crowds, kudos to the Calgary fans and the Calgary Stadium personnel for making sure that everybody sat on the same side of the stadium, sun-splashed. And my wife was like, I don't know if I'd be able to sit in the sun that long. I go, they're Canadians. It's the only sun they're going to have for the next 6 months. They'll love it. And she goes, oh, you're right. But what a great night for rugby, for Canada, specifically the nation. Great win. And, Rugby World Cup on the women's side, fun stuff to watch. We could, Team USA, they got that grit. We'll see them bounce back. So I'm excited to see the next match. Let's switch it over to the MLR. Briefly give me your skinny on the MLR draft.
I really liked the live presentation. I think that was a really nice we haven't seen that before, right? So that was cool. Just added a bit of intrigue to it. And I thought they had the right cast. Will Hooley was great hosting. Corbs was great. Fitz was awesome. He's perfect for that role. Alex Goff did well. So I thought that was really great. Where I would complain a little bit is them at the end of the broadcast saying, okay, watch social media for the next updates. And then not a peep from the MLR account for half an hour. Like, come on, guys, sort it out. This isn't difficult to figure out. Throw some bone here. So kind of, they got the important part right. I mean, I'm just nitpicking.
Not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing,
Yeah, right.
And I got to tip my cap. But then we also have the MLR rumor floating around. And I started this rumor. I didn't start the rumor. I put it out there. I heard it. And it sounds pretty legit, this rumor, as far as rumors go, that there's a rumbling that World Rugby might get involved and put a Canadian team back in the MLR should Canada qualify. What do you think about that?
Oh, great. Let's do it. I say give the money to the Arrows. Let Timmy Matthews put that organization back together and get him back on the feet. I mean, obviously the will is still there. It's just a matter of funding. So,
but then all your Free Jacks are gone. All your Hounds are gone. Your connections to the Hounds and the Free Jacks are gone.
No, they won't all jump back right away.
They'll all jump back. I think that's part of the deal.
I think some of them will go back, but not all of them. But
pay cut.
Bring it on. Let's do it.
Bryan, here's a question, and I don't want you to think too long on it. But if we were in a world where Team USA could purchase Team Canada's World Cup spot for $2.5 million cash, would you accept that?
Not for sale. Canada's not for sale.
$25 million for Canada just to sit at home in 2027.
Jeez.
Your Honor, I want to treat him as a hostile witness. The first lying Canadian. Final thought, Bryan, before we let you go.
Looking forward to another week of Canadian dominance in the World Cup, and we'll see how things go against Japan. All we need is 4 tries against Japan in the PNC, and that's all she wrote. Is back into the big dance. So really looking forward to when that finally becomes official.
All right, I'm going to change my ABC always beat Canada to always back Canada for this remainder of the tournament. And thank you, Bryan, for being a little bit gracious and not completely gloating. I thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
And Bryan, just like that, we're out of time. So thank you to Mr. Bryan Ray of America's Rugby News. Thank you to American rugby legend Cam Dolan. Thank you to the great American that is Ryan Fitzgerald. And thanks to Thomas Wheels Grant. And thank you for tuning in. Please check out the Rugby Odds. It's excellent this week. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.